All right. Jimmy Haslam, the owner of the Cleveland Browns, a guy who's usually better known for cutting checks than cutting into football decisions, just dropped a bombshell that's echoing through every hallway in the Browns facility. This isn't just some little shift. This is a full-on tectonic plate move. Because come week 1, unless the earth splits in half or the sky falls, Shedeur Sanders is going to be the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. Not Joe Flacco, not Kenny Pickett, not Dylan Gabriel. No, it's Shedeur. Period. End of story. And look, this isn't one of those whispers from some league insider trying to stir up clicks. No, this came from the very top. We're talking Haslam himself. Colin Cowherd even confirmed it. This isn't hearsay, it's confirmation. And not only did Haslam give Shedeur the green light, he shoved the whole organization into the fast lane. He didn't just back Shedeur. He overruled a coaching staff that's been clutching to veteran comfort like a toddler to a security blanket in a thunderstorm. Let's be real. It wasn't all clean and pretty either. While Stefanski and Andrew Berry were busy playing draft day chess, pulling off this Dylan Gabriel pick in the 3rd round like it was some grand strategy, trying to block Shedeur's path before it even started, Haslam wasn't having it. He saw what a lot of this league was either too scared or too proud to admit. Shedeur Sanders is the real deal. He's not some 5th-round project quarterback. He didn't slide in the draft because he wasn't good enough. Let's just say what it really was. Bias. A lot of people didn't like the name. They didn't like the swagger. They didn't like the confidence, like he knows something they don't. But guess what? He does know something they don't. Because truth is, nobody in that quarterback room, not Flacco, not Pickett, not Gabriel, is better than Shedeur Sanders. Not now, not ever. Flacco had his run. Pickett had his window. Gabriel? Come on, let's be honest. He was never that guy. But Shedeur, he's not just a quarterback. He's changing the gravitational pull in Cleveland. So if you're feeling this, if you're riding with me, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and share your thoughts in the comments. I appreciate all of you tuning in. So when the Browns hit the field for week 1, don't call this a risk. Don't act like it's some kind of dice roll. This is clarity. This is the NFL finally catching up to what Haslam already knew. People doubted him, mocked the idea, rolled their eyes at the flash and the name. But now they're being forced to face it. Shedeur Sanders is the future of this team, and the owner just put his foot down. No stutter, no second guessing, and trust. Me, I've been digging into what happened on draft day, and let me tell you, it wasn't just strategy. It was sabotage. The coaching staff didn't want Shedeur Sanders, and not because of talent, not because he didn't fit their little system. It was because of everything that comes with him. The spotlight, the brand, the expectations, the name, Sanders. Stefanski and Berry had their own plan, and when the media circus started forming before the card was even turned in, they panicked. That's why they grabbed Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round, 2 whole rounds before Shedeur even went. It wasn't about Gabriel. It was about trying to steer the narrative. They thought if they moved quick, they could stay ahead of Haslam's push. But Haslam wasn't playing catch-up. He was 5 moves ahead, playing chess. When Shedeur's name was still sitting there in the 5th round, he didn't hesitate. He made the move. And when he did, he didn't just override a draft decision, he exposed the entire power dynamic. Because that pick, that wasn't just about a guy with potential. That was a message. That was Haslam telling the staff, the front office, and the league. This is the direction we're going. The moment that card got turned in, it felt like the air changed. Everyone knew it. This wasn't a flyer. It wasn't a brand play. It was a declaration. And from that point forward, the countdown to week 1 was on. And every snap, Shedeur's, taken since then, has proven Haslam made the right call. They didn't want Shedeur because he doesn't fit the mold. He doesn't play by the same rules. He isn't a quiet soldier. He's not here to blend in. He's here to take over. But Haslam didn't care about egos or status quo. He cared about winning. And he saw what everyone else was too scared to admit. Shedeur Sanders is that dude. But here's the part nobody seems to talk about. The moment Shedeur's name was called in the 5th round, the NFL basically slapped the developmental label on him. That's code for, we don't expect anything this year. The coaching staff treated him like he was just a camp body, something to keep quiet, give him scout team reps, and tell him to wait his turn. But Shedeur didn't walk into Cleveland like some 5th round nobody. He walked in like a quarterback. He walked in like someone ready to compete, and that shook the room. While Flacco and Pickett were spoon-fed reps, and Gabriel got an artificial head start just because of where he was picked, Shedeur took what was left. And he made those reps count. From the very first OTA, you could see it. He belonged. He had command. He read defenses pre-snap like a vet. He delivered the ball with rhythm, confidence, precision. It didn't look like a rookie trying to survive. It looked like a starter taking control, and that scared people. Because this team wasn't prepared for this. They wanted a smooth, drama-free camp, but Shedeur blew that narrative wide open. He forced everyone in that building to ask the one question they didn't want to answer. Is anyone in this room actually better than him? And the answer? No. Not in arm talent, not in IQ, not in leadership. From the moment he walked in the door, he made it impossible to ignore him. And that's when it stopped being about quarterback competition and started being about control. Behind the scenes, I'm telling you, there's a battle going on. Stefanski wants his kind of guy. Quiet, low-profile, stay-in-your-lane system dudes, guys who do the job and don't make waves. Shedeur, he's the complete opposite. He's bold. He's branded. He's unapologetically himself. He embraces the spotlight and brings a whole new energy to the building. And that terrifies them. Not because he's unqualified, but because he's too qualified. Every time he steps on that field, it gets harder and harder to justify keeping him off it. So what did the staff do? They drafted Gabriel. Not because they needed him, but because he was leverage. Gabriel became their excuse, their safety net. He gave them a reason to slow play Shedeur's rise. To pretend they were developing both rookies when in reality they were just stalling the inevitable. And now the excuses are coming in waves. He needs time. He's still learning. We want to bring him along slowly. But if you've been watching camp, if you've been paying attention, you already know the truth. The staff wasn't ready for Shedeur Sanders. They didn't expect him to take over. But now they've run out of reasons. He's too smart, too fast, too damn good, and they can't hide from it anymore. Now, I've been following the Browns long enough to know when something's shifting. I've seen the coaching shakeups, the front office resets, the endless quarterback carousel, name after name, face after face. But right now, this moment we're in, it feels like a fork in the road, because Jimmy Haslam isn't waiting around anymore. He's made up his mind, and once Haslam makes a move like this, man, everything else starts to follow. He's not whispering in the background. He's not dropping subtle hints. He's stepping right into the heart of the Browns' quarterback room and making it loud and clear. Shedeur Sanders is the guy he believes in. Week 1, starter. That's not a suggestion. That's a declaration. And when the owner of the franchise plants his flag like that, you better believe everyone in that building feels it, from the interns to the head coach. The coaching staff, the front office, they can either get on board or they're gonna get left behind. It's that simple. Haslam isn't dipping his toe in the water here. He's diving head first. And if you think this is just another prospect with potential situation, think again. This isn't like Johnny Manziel. This isn't Baker Mayfield 2.0, and this certainly isn't another high-dollar redemption gamble like Deshaun Watson. Now this time, it feels like Haslam finally found his guy, a guy who can actually deliver. So, please take 2 seconds to hit the subscribe button, like the video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support, and let's not downplay that for a second. Haslam has always been fascinated by quarterbacks who light up the headlines. He loves the energy. He loves the narrative. He loves being in the spotlight. But the problem with that approach in the past? Those guys didn't always come with substance. Johnny had the charisma, but he didn't have the discipline. Baker had the fire, but he couldn't elevate beyond his own chaos. And Watson? Well, we all know that Saga has been a storm of its own. But with Shedeur, it's different. He's not bringing baggage. He's not bringing drama. He's bringing work ethic. He's bringing calm. He's bringing leadership. And when you watch him move, when you hear him talk, when you see how he prepares, it's impossible to think of him as some fifth-round flyer. He doesn't carry himself like a backup. He doesn't look around like he's waiting for someone else to lead. He steps up like he knows he belongs at the front of the line. And man, for the first time in what feels like a lifetime, it looks like the Browns might actually have a star in the making. Now here's where it gets even crazier. Most rookies, when they get drafted, they take a breath. You know what I mean? They go home, spend time with family, maybe hit the beach, decompress before camp. But not Shedeur. While everybody else was catching their breath, he was out there, putting in work. Full Browns gear, helmet strapped, cleats on, pads tight, out on his father's turf. No fans, no trainers, no photographers, just him, alone. Running drills like it was a Sunday in September, and First Energy Stadium was packed, wall to wall. And listen, only one camera managed to catch it, just one. But that short little clip, that 30-second window into Shedeur's mindset, it shook the fan base. And I get why. Because that wasn't just a workout. That wasn't just some kid tossing balls around to stay in shape. That was a statement. You don't dress out in full game gear unless you believe it's already yours. You don't simulate the intensity of game day unless you're already mentally stepping onto that field as the leader of the offense. And I'm telling you, that moment, that quiet, uncut, no music, no drama, raw footage of Shedeur launching, footballs under a cloudless sky, that told me everything I needed to know about where his head is. That wasn't just practice. That was visualization at the highest level. That was someone living in the future they know is coming. And that right there? That's what separates the ordinary from the elite. It's not just about how far you can throw. It's about how far you can see. Shedeur isn't reacting. He's manifesting. He's not sitting around waiting for the opportunity to come his way. He's out here taking it, and doing it on the same field that made him who he is. That field built by Dayon, the one that taught him the meaning of work ethic, of discipline, of never taking a shortcut. You didn't need slow-motion edits or commentary to feel the impact of that video. Just the sound of cleats hitting turf, and a ball slicing through the air like it belonged there. And I'll say it again, belief like that, you can't fake it. You either have it in your soul or you don't. Let's be real for a second. Who else in that QB room is moving like this? Who else is skipping the beach trips and the yacht parties to lock in like this is already their team? Joe Flacco? Nah. Kenny Pickett? Maybe on paper? Dylan Gabriel? He was supposed to be the project. But Shedeur is built different. He's walking into that building every day like it's already his job to lose. And that should terrify every name listed ahead of him on the depth chart. Now Andrew Berry, credit to him, he's trying to keep it composed in public, saying all the right things. We like our quarterback room. We're excited about the competition. But come on, behind closed doors, this whole situation is evolving in real time. You can feel it. You can see it. That fifth-round pick that nobody expected to matter, he's suddenly the one commanding all the attention. And yeah, after the draft, Berry tried to frame it like Shedeur was part of the plan all along. But let's not rewrite history here. They didn't expect him to be there in the fifth round. That wasn't a setup. They lucked into it. And when they saw his name still sitting there, Haslam didn't blink. He stepped in and said, "We're taking him. I don't care what the draft board says." And you know what? Berry's post-draft comments told me everything. He praised Shedeur's poise. He highlighted his pocket presence, his production, his decision-making. These aren't things you say about a redshirt plan. These are things you say when you know a guy is coming for that starting role and there's not a damn thing you can do to stop it. And slowly, but surely, Barry's tone is shifting. They're not calling Shedeur a developmental project anymore. They're calling him a competitor. A guy who's going to push. That. Language matters. That doesn't happen unless the player himself forces the issue. Unless he outgrows the expectations that were placed on him before he even walked through the door. They didn't plan for Shedeur Sanders to be the centerpiece of the quarterback conversation. But now they're realizing they might have accidentally found the best QB on the entire roster. And I know that's a bold statement, but that's not fanboy hype. That's just the uncomfortable truth staring this staff in the face every single day in camp. The buzz in Cleveland right now is off the charts. And not just because Shedeur looks good in orange and brown. It's because there's a real sense, a growing feeling, that this kid might actually be the one, not someday, not in 2 or 3 years, but right now. So if you feel that same spark I'm feeling, if you've watched this kid and you believe what your eyes are telling you, then do me a favor. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments what you think this team should do. Because in my opinion, the future is already here. And his name is Shedeur Sanders. Thanks for watching, and see you next one.